Okay, so welcome back to the final little detail of this Blackberry bookmark. And since this is going to be a really short video, I wanted to share a couple little cool tidbits with you too, and a couple little surprises I have just for you. So let's do the details first. You're going to need your 90% cool gray, which is 1067. And if you can see here, I'm going to slide this over just a hair. You should have finished off your background. And this is the stage where you should be at. So, like I said in the last video when you were doing your background, don't stress too much about getting too close with the color with your lines, because you're going to take this dark gray, and I'm going to zoom in just a hair, hopefully. Maybe. There we go. Okay. Can you see what I'm doing here? Where these small leaf petals are, I'm going to go in between here with my dark gray, and I'm just going to give a little detail. Not a lot. All I'm doing is kind of going around the outside of the line and that little bit in the center there. What I'm doing is I'm following the line, just kind of making it pop off the page again. If you want to hide the line, you can skip this step. You don't have to do this at all. You can completely just leave it as it is and call it good. I like to really have sharp lines and give that added bit in the very end. Now, right here where that line seems really thin, only do the one side, and you can see where I got some pink on my my green stem. So I'll have to go back in there with my green, and that should be easy enough to use your really fine micro eraser and very carefully go over that with. Because you have a base coat down, it should only take off that first coat, and you should be able to reapply your green there if you've made an error like I did. But like I said, nobody's perfect. Even I make mistakes. Lots of them. But that's what makes it fun, because you learn. But anyways, you're going to want to just do your details. Remember to keep your deepest shades on the side where there's no light. So like if you're going to go around the blackberry here, go around the side of the berry where there's the most, where there's the least amount of light hitting the berry. And when you get to the light side, make it less heavy on your line. Just really lighten up that line there. Don't apply so much pressure. So just keep following the contours. You don't have to hit every little spot either. Just do your main visual spots. Anywhere that catches your eye is going to catch other people's eye. So those are the spots you want to hit. And you can always come back with your green and touch up any spots that you may have that little bit of pink, like I said. Because it's quite a contrasting color, so it's going to happen if you get that little bit of pink into your green. But it's correctable, so again, don't panic when that happens. People make the big mistake and they grab their eraser right away. Just wait till the very end to do your corrections when it comes to that. Okay, now remember when we were looking at it and you could see like little spines coming off the stalks? So with your deep gray and a very light touch, you're going to do very quick little dashes. If you want to add those little spiny features back in, very quick, very tight little dashes, just like that. Hopefully you can see that. You're not going to do a bunch. You're just quickly adding some. That's all you're doing, just really quick. The quicker you go, the lighter they'll be and the tighter they'll be. So, for example, right here with my leaf, where this leaf is touching the other leaf, I'm going to go ahead and add some of those dark lines in. But again, you don't have to do this. I like to add this detail in, but I don't do it on all my pictures. This one, just because that really bright purple and red, I really want that line of that leaf to show. So I want to give it that little bit of depth. And you can come in here and add your veins into your leaf. And again, you can use your dark green here, the one we used to apply the 988 if you prefer. But remember, keep your light areas light. Don't put too much of the dark in where your light areas should be, because you'll throw the whole color off. Oops, see? I just got a little too much gray there. And that's easy to do, but again, you can color correct, but you have to be really so careful. And I suggest those little mono erasers. They're long and skinny, and they come in a little pencil. They're nice and really easy to use. So you can kind of see how I added just a little bit in there in comparison to, like, let's say right here where you can't see anything. So if I rotate this a little bit and I add this dark gray just around the edge here where it's touching that other leaf. So I'm just outlining. Oops. So ever so carefully, just going around it really lightly. Now you can see that leaf stands out more. And that's kind of what you want. I'm just being gentle on this side because I don't want that heavy line, because this is the side that has more light. And I know that because that's where the lighter colors are. More of a sun-bleached look. And again, you absolutely don't have to do this step. I just like to do it when it comes to certain pictures with certain details, because I think it really makes the picture stand out, especially with these dark contrasting colors. I want to really make sure that those berries and those leaves come off that page. So anyways, like I said, this is going to be a short video. So please carry through doing your details. Don't rush it. Take your time. Go slow. Use a sharp tip. Brush up any of your little points that you need to with those colors I gave you. Now, for the treats. Okay. You know, Prismacolors can give you some wax bloom, and they could be a dusty pain in your butt. And I know you noticed this. You see this little bit of pink that was rubbed off on the side of my paper. And I brought it up before. And people have argued with me and said, oh my gosh, don't use a sand eraser. Oh my gosh, don't do it. You'll ruin your picture. You'll ruin your paper. Okay, no, you won't. Number one, Prismacolor pencils, they are so soft. No, you will not. They're one of the hardest colored pencils to remove from paper. This is what I'm talking about. It is made by Mono, M-O-N-O. It says for ink on it. It is a sand eraser. It's kind of gritty. It's not overly gritty, but it's kind of gritty. So you can feel the grit in it. Now, what you want to do when you use these, don't do this. You're not going to sit there and rub the paper really hard. What you want to do is lightly do small circles, just like I'm doing here. So I'm going to rub these small circles. I'm not going over the colored part. I'm just going over the white part of my paper, because I'm done. So I'm not worried about burnishing this white paper with this sanded eraser. See how it's removing the pink? And you just blow it right off. It's going to come off really easy with the sanded eraser. No issues. It's just a little tip that will help you remove color from your white paper when you have a smear like that. It's a nice addition to your colored pencils, especially when using Prismas. And it's easier than sitting there and trying to work a white eraser to get that extra smear off. Because we all do it. We all get that rub from our hands, our shirts, or whatever. it happens, or just from the dust in general, like page transfer in your books and things, pressure transfer. But see how it took it right off? And you can do it as many times as you need to. And like in between here, there's some blue. And these are finishing touches I'll usually do in the end. But be really careful. Don't rub hard. Try to do little circles if you can. And the smaller the mono eraser, the smaller the sanded eraser is, the better off you are, because it keeps you from pushing hard. Because you can really rip through your paper if you're not careful using these. It takes a delicate touch. So just remember that. These are designed for ink. So just remember that when you use them. There is another eraser out there. It's called black. It is a jet black eraser. It is also really good for removing charcoal and other colored pencils. But I find this is one of my favorite ones when I want to remove dust on my white paper. So if I'm removing a thick, heavy coat of Prismacolor, the first thing I do is lay down removable Scotch tape, not the sticky kind, the kind you put down that peels right off. It's called removable Scotch tape. Put that down a couple times over the colored pencil. It'll just pull the color off. Once you've done that a few times, then take your white erasers or your kneaded erasers and do it in a circular motion to remove some of that. Because what you don't want to do is rub the grain of the paper out. Once you've done that, that's it. And a little tip, you will never get all the colored pencil out of your paper. So you will get a lot of it out. So what you're going to have to do at that point is what's called color correcting. So you're going to want to color correct whatever color is under there to the best of your ability. And you're better off going a darker shade of what was already there. It usually will hide it. Okay, so that was the cool little thing. Since that was a really short end to that long video, I got something special. Let me move this. Got my fancy little dancing eraser. Look at I got. I know you're like, ooh, Prismacolor pencils. But that's not what's really cool about these. Okay, so some of you know certain little details about me that I can't really share. I can't really spill the beans. But just talking to me, you can probably figure out some things. Okay, so I hear a lot of rumors. I still hear the gossip mill going, oh, this and that. Prismacolors are made in China. Prismacolors aren't made in Mexico. They've made their boxes here. They make their boxes there. I bought a set on Temu. They're fake. I bought a set on Amazon. They're fake. Or Walmart. They're fake. Okay, you guys. Knock it off. Enough is enough. You get what you pay for. If you buy your Prismacolor pencils from a third-party seller who's not a reputable art supplier, you get what you pay for. Don't whine about it. I'm sorry. I don't mean that to sound super rude, but you get what you pay for. Now, that doesn't mean they're fakes or dupes. What that means is the chance you got a really old set or a reject set from the company are pretty good. That means when the company manufactured them and they did quality control checks and they kicked them out and said, okay, these are not good enough to go to an art supply store, but we'll still sell them. We'll sell them as rejects to the highest bidder. And then those people can sell them however they want. And usually those are sold as third-party sellers. And they sell them for a pretty low price. So again, you get what you pay for. And those come with all the flaws. That doesn't mean quality control at the company is bad. So you got to think about that when you start slinging rocks, so to say. There was a transition period when all of manufacturing moved to Mexico. So that took some time to adjust, and that happens with any company and big moves like that. But that time has passed, and their quality control has improved 100-fold. So with that said, let me share what I have here. Now, A lot of you may not know that they have been producing Prismacolor pencils in Mexico since about 2010. And they have been sold right here in the United States and in other countries since about 2010. So, okay, I need to show you. Okay, this one right here, Mexico. I know you can't see it, but it's embossed right here, Mexico. Prismacolor Premier, Mexico. See the core? It's not perfect. It's a little off-center. Off-center cores, pretty normal for Prismacolor. Off-center cores are not a problem with Prismacolor pencils. What's a problem is when you get a misaligned barrel. So when the wood is not lined up properly with the other side, because there are two parts. They have a two-part wood casing that's pressed together. So when those casings are not lined up properly and you go to sharpen them, that's where you have a problem with your pencils not sharpening properly. Okay, I wanted to show you that because I wanted you to see this. Now, is this the other one? Okay, this one is Prismacolor Premier made in Mexico. See the core is a little bit thicker. Can you see that? Pretty cool, huh? So this is an older run of the Made in Mexico Prismacolor Premiers, which was around 2012, if I'm correct. And my memory serves me, I had all these notes written down. So, and the barrel is a little fatter. So that's from about 2012. Okay. Now, here is one made in USA. USA Prismacolor. Now look at that. Thick barrel, thick core, and yes, this is lavender. I know. Don't be mad at me. I have a whole bunch of them. Okay. This particular pencil is from the late 90s, early 2000s, but still made in USA. Okay. Now that is that's the lavender. Now I'm going to show you something. This is a lavender made in Mexico right here. And this is from about 2013, no, maybe 2014, I think. 2014, 2015, made in Mexico. This is also an authentic Prismacolor lavender. See the color difference? Same color, same pigment. When you color them down on paper, the same exact color. So USA, Mexico, USA, Mexico, USA. See the cores? Identical. Approximate time frame, identical. So I want you guys to just see that. So when you say the made in Mexico ones are horrible compared to the made in USA ones, they're not really. They're comparable in quality. There was that really horrible transition period, and I am on board with that. I am 100% agree with you that during the recent transition where they started mass producing in Mexico only, there are some serious growing pains for them. You're talking about a manufacturing plant that is now manufacturing for all the art supply stores. So that was a big growing pain for them. Okay, now here is the lilac, which is made in USA. I don't know, this one's hard to see. This is one of the older ones with the smaller core. Off center again. Okay. This is a made in Mexico. You can almost see that one better. Can you see that one better? Made in Mexico. Prismacolor Premier, but earlier 2000s. And now look at the paint. The paint is a little chippy. It's peeling here. Nice, thick, perfectly straight core. So you just never know. And this one is also made in Mexico. Prismacolor Premier. Nice, thick, fat core. It's got some paint flaws. The embossing is really heavy here. But this is also an early 2000s pencil. So I just wanted to show you some differences that are there that you may not have ever even noticed. They're so subtle, but they're there. That doesn't mean these are fakes or dupes. What it is different country of origin, different country of production. Different machines put out different pencils, and they're not going to be exact. So with production moving to Mexico, you got to remember you got different machines. Pigments are limited to what they can get in Mexico now, which means your paint colors, etc. So take that with a grain of salt. Now, if you're buying your art supplies, meaning your Prismacolor pencils, if you're buying them from a third party, remember you get what you pay for. The chances that you got fakes are probably less than 1%. They're probably legitimate. They're probably just quality control rejects is what you got. And you got them sold to you at a very discounted price from a third party seller. So you get what you pay for. Just remember that. That's not me being harsh. Hey, more power to you. Get a deal where you can get them. But just remember that. Don't let rumors and gossip scare you into thinking they're fakes. They probably are not. If you are worried about that, don't buy from a third-party seller. For example, Walmart, Michaels, Amazon, they all have third-party sellers, which means if you go on their online store and you look at an item, it'll tell you if it's sold by that store or it's sold by another seller. So Amazon, it should say shipped and sold by Amazon. Michaels, it should say shipped and sold by Michaels. It's just how it is. Walmart, it should say shipped and sold by Walmart. If it doesn't, if it says that it's sold by Amazon but shipped by somebody else, you know that's a third-party seller. If it says sold by Walmart but shipped by somebody else, you know that's a third-party seller. So you just want to question what you're buying and make sure that the product you're buying is backed by whatever guarantee it is from the company you're buying it from. Because read the disclaimers if you're buying from a third party. A lot of them say no refunds. And that means what you buy is what you get. And they're not entitled, nor do they have to give you a refund on a product you purchase from them, especially if you're buying on a site like Temu. I would not buy a Prismacolor pencil from Temu if it was the last place to buy them. I would go without. That's just me. I'm just letting you know that straight up from my heart. And again, if you can find them for a deal, as long as they do what they need to do, and you got them for a discounted price, they may be imperfect. There's nothing wrong with imperfect. But just remember, you may have this pink pencil that's made in USA and one that's made in Mexico, and the color may be just slightly different. That has a lot to do with the pigment and what you can and cannot get in that country versus what was available in our country. There has been some slight variations, but not such a variation that you should be able to tell unless you're using it on a dark paper, or they made the dramatic change with lilac and lavender because it was such a dramatic change in the color. So just keep that in mind when you're purchasing your artist grade color pencils from third-party sellers. I have bought off Amazon many, many times, but I usually buy from my big stores like Blick, Jerry's, or Michael's. I go right to the source. I don't mess around with third party when it comes to my Prismacolors, my Polys, my Caran d'Ache. I just don't mess around with them. I have bought from private sellers used older pencils, but I know what I'm getting. They say it's used, it's third party. I expect used third party. If what I get is less in quality, well, I knew that when I was going into it, making that purchase. So please keep that in mind. And I mean, I don't mean to sound harsh and say quit complaining, quit whining, but you get what you pay for. You really do. So when in doubt, ask somebody. If you're unsure, reach out to one of these many experienced colorists or artists on the many groups that are out there who have this knowledge and say, hey, this is where my budget is. Where do you think I can get the best deal for a good set of Prismacolors? Or where should I start? Because sometimes starting out with a smaller set is better, and just build your set up. And then even if you're a beginner and you're not ready to spend the money on the Premier set, start with the Scholar set. They are equally soft. They're a little bit harder, so they're a little harder to break the cores, but you're going to get a feel for them, and they're more budget friendly too. And the colors are beautiful. They're just as beautiful as the Premier set. So there are options out there. You don't have to just run and jump straight into the really expensive pencils. So it's what you like to use, not about what other people are telling you to buy. Anyways, I'm glad you listened. I'm glad I got to share some of these older pencils with you. This isn't even some of my good stuff. Those are kind of stashed away. I break those out for special occasions. But I really wanted to show you the difference on these, because even though they're made around the same time frame, they're made at different manufacturing plants, and they're all different, but they're all legitimate Prismacolor pencils. Crazy, right? How do you like those cookies? Okay, with that said, we have the fancy eraser trick. We have done these two bookmarks. Let me zoom out a little bit for you so you can see where we're at. Oops, I jiggled you. Okay. Zoom out, adjust myself here. Okay. Am I in view? Okay, whatever. Okay, so we've done these two. I'm going to do the strawberry next. I'm going to try to do it in 3 parts instead of 2, because I did this one in 2 and I could have done it in 3. Because this last part kind of stunk because it was super short. I got tired. Sorry about that. Anyways, we will do the strawberry one next, and then the gooseberries will be last, because that one's going to be a little tricky even for me. So happy creating, you guys. And show me your pictures. I would love to see them if you do these bookmarks. I'd love to see what ideas you come up for backgrounds, or if you use my color combos, share them with me. I would love to see them, and I'm sure Ellie would love to see them as well. Thanks for watching, you guys. Tune in for the berries. If I don't get them up in the next couple days, I will try to get them up by Monday, the strawberries, because like I said, I have a birthday party to go to. It's my friend's 50th. I can't miss that. She'll be mad at me. Anyways, I will get them done, I promise. Stay tuned.